BCC meeting to order. The time is 2:10, and can I please get a roll call? We can't hear you, though. Are your mic live? Or I can't hear you.
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Garcia. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Commissioner Garcia. We're about to do the roll call. We're just...
All right, can you hear that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Commissioner Anna Hansen.
Present.
Commissioner Hank Hughes.
Present.
Commissioner Henry Roybal. Commissioner Henry Roybal, should we mark him as excused?
No, he should be online. He was going to be online. Matthew or Tessa Joe, can you see Commissioner Roybal whether he's joined the WebEx or not?
Madam Chair, it doesn't appear he's signed in just yet.
Okay, well then mark him as excused. He'll be later.
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Rudy Garcia.
Present via Zoom. Thank you.
Chair Anna Hamilton.
I'm here.
We have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So that takes us to the Pledge of Allegiance, the state pledge, and the moment of reflection. If we could all rise.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico. This is the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. And at this point, I would welcome Julian Senna for the moment of reflection.
And, Madam Chair,
Yes,
have something.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Captain.
Let us take a moment to reflect, to focus on the work ahead of us today, being ever mindful of our decisions and in the best interest of our community. We take a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julian. And Commissioner Hanson?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to just take a moment, if we could, and pray for our Senator Ben Ray Lujan, who had suffered a stroke, and just to keep him in our prayers and let him know that we are thinking of him and sending him love. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other commissioners? Thank you. So we can all be seated. That takes us to approval of the agenda. Manager Miller, are there changes we need to note?
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So the original agenda was posted on Tuesday, February 1st at 5:18 p.m. and then the amended agenda was posted on Friday, February 4th at 5:03 p.m. with these amendments. Item 3C, on consent, that item was added. It's a ratification and approval of a letter concerning WOTUS. Then Section 5, miscellaneous action items. Item D, which was a county improvement district application resolution, that was tabled. Item G, 5G, which is a ratification to a contract, signature on a contract amendment. That item was added. Then item 7, which is matters from the county manager. Item B, packet material was updated with the most recent legislative information. And then item 9, matters from the county attorney. B, executive session. Items 9B2 and 3 were added. And those were the amendments posted to the agenda last Friday.
Excellent, thank you. So with those notations,
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Hanson?
I move to approve with the noted changes.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion,
Madam Chair, I have a discussion, a quick question, if I may, please.
of course.
So
Commissioner Garcia?
Item number 5D, that's tabled, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So it'll come up on a future agenda.
Item 5D is tabled?
Correct. If I'm not mistaken, it's tabled for reasons of needing additional information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Any further discussion? There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Commissioner Garcia, are you voting on the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
And any opposed? That matter passes. That takes us to item 2, approval of meeting minutes. Anybody have any input on the minutes, or what's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And
Aye.
Commissioner Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. So that takes us to item 3, which is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any commissioners have questions or questions on, or would like to have pulled for discussion? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Hanson?
I move to approve.
And I'll second, and I have a comment.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Under discussion, Commissioner Hughes?
I just wanted to thank Commissioner Hanson for writing the letter about waters of the U.S., a very important topic.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
I want to thank Commissioner Hughes, and I want to thank staff and everyone who worked with me on getting this letter done. And it is in line with the previous letters that we have written on WOTUS. And so
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson. Any further discussion? So for consent, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Any opposed? Thank you. So that takes us to item number 4, which is appointments and reappointments.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you like the resolution numbers for the 2 items on the consent
You have
agenda?
to interrupt me, or else I forget for the first time every session. Yes, I would like resolution numbers. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Okay, so the first resolution, 3A, was 2022-007. And for 3B, it's 2022-008.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk.
Madam Chair.
So 4B is appointments and reappointments, and this is for the Santa Fe County Planning Commission. Is Vicky Lucero on WebEx?
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. On December 14th, 2021, the BCC appointed Marion Cox to serve as the at-large member on the Planning Commission. Ms. Cox has since declined the position, stating that it conflicted with work associated with her business. And so we did contact members of the public who were interested in serving on the Planning Commission that were on the list of potential candidates that was presented to the board in December. So the members who would still like to be considered to serve on the Planning Commission are stated in the packet material. and their letters of interest and resumes are included in Exhibit B of the packet. Staff recommendations: staff has reviewed the letters of interest and resumes of all the applicants and recommends that the BCC appoint Wendy Meltgen Perard based on her education and experience in land use related matters to serve on the Planning Commission in the at-large position for a 2-year term beginning February 2022 until January of 2024. Thank you, Madam Chair. I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Vicki. Appreciate it. Do any commissioners have questions?
Madam Chair, this is Rudy. I vote for approval.
I'll second.
Thank you. So I have a motion and a second under discussion. Commissioner Hughes, did you have something?
Oh, no, I was going to make the motion, but
I understand. Any other further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
We are appointing Wendy.
I assume that it was for approval of the recommended appointment. Commissioner Garcia, is that correct?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. So yes, Commissioner Hanson.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Roybal.
Yes,
Is this
Commissioner Roybal, welcome.
is this an at-large position or is it the district one?
Madam Chair,
Chair,
Commissioner
it's
Roybal,
at large.
yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Roybal. And if we can note that Commissioner Roybal has joined the meeting. So if there is no further discussion, I do have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Commissioner Roybal, did I hear you?
Yes, I voted in the affirmative.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any opposed? Thank you. So that passes, and that takes us to item 5, which is miscellaneous action items. A is requesting approval of the lease agreement between Santa Fe County and Reunity Resources. I'm not sure exactly who's going to speak first. Scott Caseman, would that be you?
It would. Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Hamilton, Commissioners. My name is Scott Caseman, and I am the county's real property supervisor. Today, staff is requesting your approval of a lease agreement between Santa Fe County and Reunity Resources to lease county property along the Santa Fe River for agricultural use to support local hunger efforts. In July of 2020, the BCC executed a lease with Reunity for 1 acre of the county's Santa Fe River property. This is located at the northeast corner of Agua Fria Road and San Ysidro Crossing. That lease expired on January 31st of this year. Reunity has been farming the property, and in lieu of rent for the lease agreement, Reunity donates agricultural services and produce grown in the garden to help support local organizations that combat hunger in Santa Fe County. In a moment, Juliana Ciano from Reunity will be giving a presentation describing those donations and Reunity's activities. At this time, Reunity and the county wish to execute a new lease for an additional acre of ground and for a term of 3 years under similar lease conditions. We did obtain an appraisal from Hiphoff and Associates, and they determined that the 3-year fair market rent for the 2 acres is $14,400. The estimated value of the produce and the agricultural services over the same 3 years is over $100,000.
Scott, are you still with us?
Madam Chair, when we find Scott, It just said services. But I have a question for Scott, but I don't know if you want me to ask it now or not.
Go ahead, Commissioner Garcia.
So the $14,000, is that per year or per month? And then the $100,000 that they're actually going to produce, is that given to the county, to the homeless individuals, that $100,000 of produce? Where is it going and how do we monitor that it is going to the community?
Good question. I am assuming that Scott can answer part of that, and the representative from Reunity Resources might be able to answer it. Before I go to lots of discussion, I'd like to find out whether we've lost Scott Kiesman because of technical issues. And
Madam Chairman, this is Gary Giron, and I can finish the presentation. We lost Scott, I think, because of connectivity issues.
yes, okay, I appreciate it, Gary. Please take over.
So staff has conducted its due diligence and has determined that the estimated value of the produce to be donated at approximately $112,140 exceeds the fair market rental value of the land, which is approximately $14,400. The proposed lease shall run from February 1st, 2022 through January 31st, 2025. A 2020 lease, which is number 2018-0270-PW, will expire on January 31st, 2022. Public Works is requesting a continuation of this agreement through a 3-year lease term. With regard to the Santa Fe River Greenway project, based on the current design and construction schedule, the lease would not interfere with the advancement of the project. The design engineers are incorporating the garden into the final design for this section of the Greenway, and this meets the intent of the conceptual plan design for an infiltration area. Reunity has expressed their intention to continue to employ regenerative agricultural methods so as to be good stewards of the land, building the soil and sequestering carbon from the air, conserving water, and building biodiversity. The food produced on the land will be donated to existing county food security programs, including YouthWorks culinary program with county meal distributions, Feeding Santa Fe, Bienvenidos Outreach, communities and schools, and many others. Reunity has existing food donation relationships with the above-listed organizations, and with the additional food supplies generated from the land in this lease, they're interested in broadening their distribution to include additional local partners. I will allow Juliana to do her presentation, but then I would ask that the board approve this lease. And with that, I'll turn it over to Juliana.
Thank you, Gary. Good afternoon. I'm Juliana Ciano. I'm the Program Director for Reunity Resources. And first, I just want to thank you all for having me here today. I'd like to thank the incredible staff of Santa Fe County, Carrie Jo, Mike, Sarah, Scott, Bill, Roberta, Gary, everybody here today. You're really incredibly hardworking, and thank you for being so forward-thinking. Also to our county commissioners, thank you for leading the county in excellence, and special thanks to our district commissioner who has always championed environmental justice and food security through this initiative and many others. It's really our pleasure to be partnering with you in this way. So Reunity Resources is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We operate the farm, the community farm, adjacent to the property that we're discussing now. We also divert approximately 2 million pounds of food waste from the landfill annually, operate a no questions asked free community fridge where anyone can access food at any time, night or day. We hosted 270 children at farm camp last summer and host a number of community events. I'm here today to ask your approval of this 3-year lease for the county property adjacent, which is identified in your packets. And I believe that you have a PowerPoint with some photos of the project. We can bring those slides up.
We can see the slides. So
excellent.
continue.
Thank you. So this project came directly out of the pandemic fear around local food security. That our farm presently donates lots of food, but during that time when grocery store shelves were bare, we had so many agencies and individuals reaching out saying, can you donate, can you donate, can you donate more? And we said, yes, of course, we're going to donate as much as we can, but we're just one small farm. We need to find bigger, longer term solutions. This isn't, this isn't something that a single farm can solve. And so partnering with other local nonprofits and with Santa Fe County, this is kind of a dream pilot project that I'd love to see replicated throughout this county and many others, wherein community organizations can grow food on public lands, thereby improving the land, training young people, building community. And I titled this presentation, Cultivating Hope in Troublesome Times, because really this was a way for us to be together outside safely masked during the deep uncertainty that was spring 2020 and to a certain extent still is today. Next slide, please. This piece of land was a gravel quarry most recently and covered in trash. The first thing we did, this is a YouthWorks crew that we partner with, was clean up trash and then clean up rocks and then with digging poles and spades start trying to crack our way through that desert caliche. Next slide, please. I wanted to start with numbers because that's an important metric for people. For me, the next things after this are the most important, but I just wanted to give a quick breakdown of what's been invested from community organizations just this past year in this land. We installed an off-grid water system. I'm also trying to be fast. I don't want to belabor the issue. You can see the numbers. Lots of compost, lots of labor, lots of youth training, and then the food that came out of it. So the real measurable value is immense, especially compared to the appraised rent that Hippoff and Associates found. Next slide, please. That's the total number. And it's not just Reunity Resources, it's YouthWorks, it's Aliste Agua, it's Three Sisters Collective, and it's Mother Nature Center. Those are the 5 main collaborating organizations that brought energy to this land in the past year. Next slide. And here's what I think matters more beyond those numbers is the community, the education, the land, the water, and the food coming off of this piece of land. Next slide. So since beginning this lease, it's become a hub of activity. We've had agricultural trainings there, construction training with the YouthWorks crew. We built a shed and installed an off-grid water system, irrigation supplies. We talked about sustainable land management so that we could control the water coming off of a steep slope. The land held poetry readings and art therapy workshops and public art workshops and Indigenous knowledge sharing events. This became a hub of diverse, multi-generational activities. Next slide. This is the crew after installing that solar off-grid water tank. Next slide. And here's a few snapshots from different community events. Planting together, love getting, all different groups in the community. I think that's something really special about Agua Fria Village is that the thousands of years of history that are they're really still visible today in so many ways and celebrated. And this land just amplifies that. Next slide. This is an aerial shot of all, so that first shot of those guys who were smiling, they were only smiling for the photo. It was too hard digging to stay smiling for very long, but that's how many holes were dug. And then we got smart. And we hired someone with a backhoe to make these long trenches. So we call it our quilt, that we've got polka dots and stripes here. But what's important about seeing this is that all of that caliche was A, covered in stones and trash, and B, water could not soak into it. So now you see it's perforated and it's amended with compost. And we're going to talk about how that improves the water and the land momentarily. Next slide, please. So it's a very steep slope from the road to this portion of the land. Compost is known for holding approximately triple of the water that native sand clay soils can hold. So by bringing 60 cubic yards of compost onto this land and amending the soil, we're making all of that water that comes and rushes down that slope, rather than tearing away existing topsoil and debris and pushing it into the river. That water is being captured, it's being held by the roots of the plants, and it is A, filtering into our watershed, and B, growing nutritious plants as well as pollinator habitat and biodiversity. Next slide, please. Here's some pictures, la la la. Next slide, please. Food from the farm was donated to the culinary program, which was great because the same kids going through the YouthWorks trainings could come, and they could come and see this barren caliche and say, oh my gosh, why do I have to dig holes? And then by the end of the summer see, oh, we're harvesting squash, and oh, you know, we're cooking calabacitas. So really the connection there was powerful. Food also went to the community fridge, as well as other partners providing food to homeless populations, such as the Santa Fe Indigenous Center, Many Mothers, and SFPS Adelante. This is some of the food that was donated. So sometimes the center photo, we would make like CSA type boxes, and we could add from our farm stand, we could add things like eggs and beans and butter, as well as, you know, different vegetables. And every distribution looks a little different. So sometimes it's in bulk or sometimes it's in family boxes. Next slide, please.
Seems like this is the last slide.
Oh, it's the last slide. Good, I didn't take too long. So please approve this lease. 3 years is an extremely short amount of time in agricultural time, but I think we've shown what we can do in just, it ended up being about 20 months. So if we can have that impact in that short amount of time, I know that we can do more in 3 years, and we appreciate all your support. Thank you.
Brianna.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, with that, we'll stand for any questions and ask you to move to approve this, please.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Garcia, did you feel like your question was answered in the remainder of the presentation? Commissioner Garcia?
Scott, we were able to finish the presentation. So, Madam Chair, we will stand for any questions and ask you to approve this lease.
Yes, I've got that. That's great. Really appreciate the presentation. And in the middle, when we had that slight break, Commissioner Garcia had asked a question, and we postponed because I figured the remainder of the presentation might answer it, and I was just trying to confirm that. But he hasn't responded, so we'll get back to Commissioner Garcia. Are there other commissioners with Commissioner Hanson?
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, all of the staff who has worked so hard on this lease. I am incredibly, incredibly grateful to represent Reunity Resources and this district in the historic village of Agua Fria. It is clear that Juliana and the team that she has created, not only have they provided all of this food, but they've documented it through the organizations that they have worked with continually. And it is such a model that to share with the community as a whole, but also the nation. You know, this is the kind of way that we can actually feed our community and people who have food insecurity. So with that, I would like to move to approve a lease agreement between Santa Fe County and Reunity Resources to lease county property along the Santa Fe River to Reunity Resource for agricultural use to support local hunger efforts.
And I'll second.
Thank you very much. So I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say this just sounds like a wonderful project and a great deal for the county and a great deal for the people who benefit in many ways from this project.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
Madam Chair, this is Rudy.
Yes, Commissioner Garcia.
What an excellent program. You know, I think it's all great that we're moving forward. And I used to play on that field there when I was a kid, when I used to go to Agua Fria school. But however, this is a great program for the community. I agree. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Any other comments? I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. So this passes. And I also understand that William E. wanted to speak to this, and I would welcome his comments during matters from the public. So that takes us to item 5B, which is the resolution amending the Santa Fe County road map and certifying the report. Mr. Huron.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I believe that we circulated to you today a 2022 county road list in draft form. And for the commissioners that aren't present, we passed them to your liaison, so you'll have those. So that's so that you don't have to flip through this as a PDF. This is our annual approval of the county road list. The purpose of this resolution fulfills the county's requirements to receive its share of road maintenance funding from the New Mexico State Treasurer's Office generated from gas and motor vehicle taxes. Annually, the county is required to update the county road map and submit a certification to the New Mexico Department of Transportation by April 1st of each year. The adjustments to the county road map are listed below with a revised list of the roads attached. To be clear, this year, this past year, traffic took the opportunity to remeasure every one of the county roads from beginning point to ending point with distance measuring equipment that was attached to county vehicles. So in that, they made corrections to the lengths of roads and made sure that the beginning and ending points for each one of those roads were accurate, which changed the calculation of the roads. I thought it was going to be greater than this, but it's not. It went from 556.35 miles to 557.32, so just less than a mile, little more than a mile. And in addition, based on last year's conversation from Commissioner Hansen, we added columns to the listings to include commission districts. So they're broken out by road districts, but then also the commission district is listed. And we also have in the document the Pacer rate. Then to be, just to give you a little more information, we're in the middle of our process of, we have a contract with Infrastructure Management Services, which is IMS, and they're wrapping up and they're doing road surface testing for all of our paved roads using laser LiDAR to evaluate pavement distresses and structural strength. So in the next year, what you should have is the prioritization of county roads that need the most resources because they're getting close to failing. And in the future, it will help us to prioritize all of our maintenance projects. And with that, I will stand for any questions. And I ask to the submission of this report.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So are there questions from commissioners? Commissioner Hansen.
Thank you, Gary. I did try and look at this online, and I realized that I didn't get the whole report, so I really appreciate being able to see the whole report. It looks like there's not many roads in my district, or maybe it's not broken up, as you said, by maintenance districts as opposed to commission districts. But I know I do have county roads in the county, so I appreciate the entire list, and I will look it over. And I'm glad that you were only off by 1 mile. I think that's impressive. So congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioner. And then if you would like for us to sort by the roads in your district, we could do that and get a report run for you.
That would be great. I would appreciate it.
We can do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson. Are there other questions?
Madam Chair, this is Rudy.
Commissioner Garcia, go ahead.
Thank you, Gary, for bringing this forward. This is actually awesome that the county is moving forward on this new software, so that way we can determine what the integrity of all the county roads are. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Hanson.
I would like to make a motion to approve a resolution amending the Santa Fe County road map and certifying a report of the public roads in Santa Fe County.
And I'll second.
Excellent, thank you. So I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. This matter passes. Can I have a resolution number?
Yes, Madam Chair, the resolution number is 2022-009.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So this takes us to item 5C, which is resolution requesting a budget increase in the amount of $2,375,000 to the roads project based on a grant. And I think I saw Yvonne, so I assume, thank you, Yvonne.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the resolution before you is requesting a budget increase for a Department of New Mexico Department of Transportation project fund grant to Public Works Department for the Northeast Southeast Connector Road project for the construction of 3.96 miles of the new roadway. This grant does require a 5% match, which is already budgeted in the general, using general obligation bond 2015 fund. And with that, Chair, I and Director Hidon stand for any questions the board may have.
Excellent, thank you
Madam
so
Chair.
much. Yes,
So thank you, Mrs. Herrera. The $2.3 million, is this just for the Northeast Southeast connector, or is it for all the roads on the list?
Madam Chair, Commissioner, Yvonne, if it's okay, I could answer that.
Yes.
Madam Chair, Commissioner, it is only for the Northeast Southeast connector. It contributes to the total cost of the project.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Hidon, for applying for the grants. That way we can get that road done. Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Hughes?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move for approval of this resolution.
Second and discussion.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second under discussion. Commissioner Hanson?
Yes, I would like to thank everyone for getting this grant and helping to move this project forward. The Northeast Southeast connector will make a big difference in District 5 and 4 because they both seem to share that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, I would just echo that. Thanks to everybody who got this going. And it's exciting that we're finally going to build this road.
Yes, definitely. Is there any further discussion? Anybody online? So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Any
And
opposed? Yes. Commissioner Roybal?
Madam Chair, this is Gary.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Huron.
I just wanted to say, if the board is interested, we're ready to give on the status of the Northeast South connector at the next board meeting, if that's of interest to the body.
That would be fantastic.
Sounds like that would be appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Herold. So that item passed. Madam Clerk, could I get a resolution number?
Yes, Madam Chair. The resolution number is 2022-010.
Thank you very much. So as item 5D has been tabled, that takes us to item 5E, which is request for ratification of the county manager's authorization to submit a FEMA grant application for the opportunity of receiving $1.5 million in funding for staffing adequate fire and emergency response. Mr. Taylor, are you taking this one?
Pardon me, Madam Chair. This is Bill Taylor. Could you repeat that item?
Certainly. It's item 5E,
Sorry.
which is the request for ratification of the county manager's authorization of the FEMA grant application.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That be me. Thank you. I apologize.
Oh, no worries.
So thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Bill Taylor with the Santa Fe Purchasing Division. The fire department received an application for FEMA that required immediate action to submit that application. And the FEMA grant is for staffing for adequate fire and emergency response. The county manager reviewed and delegated. It had to be submitted electronically, the application by the fire department, those that had access to the FEMA grant application system. And so the county manager granted approval and authorization for the chief to submit that application. I'll stand for any questions. I'm sure Chief Lindsay will stand by, and I apologize for the memo caption. We had Daniel Sanchez in there. Daniel, you're off the hook. That was an error. I apologize, Madam Chair. But I'll stand for any questions regarding this ratification of the county manager's authority to submit the application.
Excellent. And Manager Miller?
So, Madam Chair, Commissioners, in this year's budget, we had actually initially requested 6 cadets to assist with a relief factor for our minimum staffing at our 24/7 career fire stations. And we ended up needing to utilize those funds in order to cover part of our union contract, as well as some reorganization within the department to have better coverage at the battalion chief and captain and lieutenant level. So we were unable to fill those positions, and we deleted those positions, and this grant would actually allow us to apply for getting those 6 cadets back and be paid for over a 3-year period. We would have to provide the uniforms and bunker gear and equipment. That'll run about $60,000 or $70,000 for those 6 individuals. And then, but the grant, if we were to receive it, would cover the cost for 3 years, and then we would pick it up with our own funds and pick up that staffing. And this was one of the items, too, that we were planning in order to properly staff the fire department with a relief factor. Right now, when we have minimum staffing, if somebody calls in sick or somebody's on training or somebody's on leave, we have to bring in somebody on overtime. But if we had anywhere from 6 to 12 other EMTs available that would fill in on those shifts throughout the county, then we could significantly reduce our overtime and have a good relief factor for the fire stations, so that employees also don't have as much burnout from having mandatory holdovers. So this was a really good opportunity to see if we can find another way to fund those positions.
Excellent. So do commissioners have any questions on this item? Commissioner Hughes?
Yes, I move for approval.
I'll second it. I have a question.
Thank you. I have a motion in 2 seconds. Under discussion, Commissioner Garcia?
So this grant, thank you, Madam Chair. This grant is actually good for 3 years. And so after the 3 years, we will be picking up the cost for benefits and to pay the staff. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Garcia, yes, it would. We would, after 3 years, pick up salary and benefits of those 6 staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Manager Miller. And also, where will they be housed at? Do we have enough places for them to be housed at?
So, Madam Chair, Commissioner Garcia, that's why I was saying they won't be assigned specifically. They may be assigned to a station, but they would be assigned as what we call a relief factor. So some of our stations have 6 people minimum staffing, some have 8, but when one of those people is either on training, annual leave, sick leave, we have to call somebody else in on overtime. This way, these individuals could pick up that shift without being on overtime. So it's a way of building in what we call a relief factor across the department.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Manager Miller. So we do have the ability to house these individuals?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Garcia, yeah, we won't have people just sitting around in fire stations of excess capacity. We have, as it stands right now, just in our base number of hours, the firefighters do shifts 29-12. Anytime somebody's off, they're off for a shift of at least 24 hours, but 48, 72. So you need people to take their place when they're off. And these people would be scheduled to fill in for people who are on annual leave, on sick leave, during training. We have, all the firefighters need a significant amount of regular training, and they would actually fill in on those shifts when people are out on training or out on leave. So yes, we have the capacity to house these individuals as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Manager Miller.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Are there other questions? So if I'm not mistaken, I do. So if I'm not mistaken, I have a motion and a second on this. And if there's no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. So this matter passes. And thank you for going to the effort of finding and applying for this. It seems like a huge benefit. That takes us to item 5F, which is request approval to enter into 7 agreements with various community healthcare organizations to provide navigation and financial assistance, etc. Mr. Taylor, are you doing this one as well? Or are we going to Jennifer Romero at Community Services?
It's a pleasure of the committee, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Taylor, go ahead. You can please feel free to start.
Thank you. The Community Services Department requests approval of these agreements to enter into with Community and Schools, Food Depot, Growing Up New Mexico, Las Cumbres Community Services, St. Elizabeth Shelter, and Youth Works. The compensation for these agreements total over approximately $2 million. And this is using the funding source of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funding, grant funding. And because of the amounts of the contract, Madam Chair, this is presented to the board for their approval. defer to Jennifer if she'd like to add anything. Otherwise, I stand for questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Taylor.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I would just like to add that these contracts or these specific organizations were approved by BCC back in September, and we are now at the point of awarding those contractors. And I'll stand for questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Romero. Excellent. Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is fantastic use of ARPA money to get it out into the community to help so many different organizations. And so I want to move to approve to enter into the 7 agreements with the various community health care organizations. And thank you, Jennifer and Bill and all of the county staff who is working with everyone to make this happen. I think it's really important. Grateful.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And I have a motion from Commissioner Hanson and a second from Commissioner Garcia. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair, just really, as Commissioner Hanson said, this is good for the community. This is what's well needed. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jennifer and Chanel, for the things that you guys do through Community Services Department. This is something, like I talked about the last meeting or the one before that, is to get into the root of what our community needs. And this is for all the providers that we're helping with. Excellent job. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Hughes, and thank you for your patience.
Yeah, I'll just echo Commissioner Garcia in saying that this is an excellent program, and I'm glad we're able to fund it with ARPA money.
Excellent. Thank you. So,
And Madam Chair, if I
yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
I just wanted
just to
add
point
my
out
voice.
clarification.
Oh, go ahead, Bill.
I'm sorry. I was just going to point out that part of the action item is to delegate that signature authority to the county manager. That's all.
Yes.
Yes, Bill, and I include that in my motion to delegate the authority to the county manager. Thank you for reminding us.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you. Commissioner Roybal?
Actually, Madam Chair, I just wanted to add my regards and the hard work that Jennifer and all staff has worked on to get this done. I think it's going to be a great use of the funding as well. And we have such a need out there that I hope that this will we can get as much service as we can to our constituents. So I just appreciate that, and I just wanted to add my voice to that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. So this matter passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor and Jennifer, Ms. Romero. So that takes us to the last miscellaneous action item, 5G, which is requesting ratification of the county manager's matter. Good grief. The county manager's signature to all amendments to the agreement between Santa Fe County and Sauter Miller for engineering, design, construction phases related to the Northeast-Southeast connector. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. This is actually ratification of the agreement with Sauter Miller and Associates. They are the engineer of record for the Northeast-Southeast connector. There were additional engineering services required that for the project, for add alts to the project, add alternate for the bidding. And we needed to get this in place as soon as possible, and we requested the county manager to go ahead and sign the agreement, and we're before the board to request ratification of the county manager's signature on that amendment, totaling for a total contract sum of $1,231,920.38. That amount is more than the 10% that increase that requires BCC approval. And with that, Madam Chair, I'll stand for questions.
Excellent, and I'll refrain from making jokes about the 38 cents. Commissioner Hughes.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And this relates obviously to the Northeast-Southeast connector again. So it's you can't build a road without engineering, I assume. So I move for approval.
A second.
Excellent. So I have a motion and a second. Is there any under discussion? Commissioner Hanson.
Yes, once again, I just want to say how wonderful this is, and I hope that when we could have a groundbreaking or a ground breaking when they actually start construction, since many of us in this room and online have waited and waited for quite some time for this to happen. So I think it is worthy of not only a groundbreaking, but of a ribbon cutting at the end. And so thank you.
Excellent. Is there anything further under discussion?
Madam Chair, this is Rudy.
Yes, Commissioner Garcia.
As Commissioner Hanson mentioned, this is a long-awaited project, and staff and the community, the highway department, everybody working together to put this project together is really good to show collaboration between all governmental entities. Just one question I have is just for the record, so everybody knows what Santa Fe County and the highway department we're all putting into this is, what's the total cost of this entire project that's going to help out that region of the community, Commissioner Hughes' district?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, this is Gary Hedon, and I'm not sure if Bill will disagree with me. We're getting terribly close to going out to procurement on this project, so I would rather not have an open discussion about all the resources that we have put into the project. We will be going through procurement with Bill. We've already started those discussions. We're passing on information, and so with all due respect, I would ask that we not discuss the total cost of the project.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Hiddle. Understood. I get it. So is the 38 cents going to be taxed or not? As Commissioner Hamilton said.
I was just
No, but
you couldn't.
But no, Mr. Hiddle, and I understand totally. I get it. So, but thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any further discussion? So I believe we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Thank you. So this matter.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners.
Thank you very much. So this takes us to item 6, which is matters of public concern. Tessa Jo, can you please let us know if there are people on who wish to speak to the commission? I know Mr. Mee had wanted to speak earlier. If he's
yes,
still
Madam
available.
Chair. The only person who has signed up is Mr. Mee, and he is still online.
Thank you. Mr. Mee, please go ahead.
Okay. William Mee, our Fairfield Village. Madam Chair and Commissioners, thank you for approving the lease to Reunity Resources for the county land. The Our Fairfield Village Association is submitting an application to the state's Main Street program, and the community farm and this land will be the hub of our activities. Representative Lujan and Commissioner Hanson and our Main Street Committee toured the area with Secretary Alicia Keys, not the singer, but the state employee. She's of the Economic Development Department, and she was very impressed with the Reunity Resources activities. So thank you again for that. On a different note, I would like the county to start doing some joint transportation planning with the city, so we can alleviate some of our transportation woes. As a lot of you know, the Arterial Road Task Force hasn't met since 2006. And, that was our kind of our mechanism for doing that type of planning. And, I just see things going further downhill. And I'm sure if you're stuck in traffic someday, you'll agree with me. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mee. I understand nobody else has signed up, but is there anybody online who wishes to address the commission and matters from the public? And once again, I'll just check with Tessa Jo. Is there anybody else who has indicated a desire to speak to the commission?
No, Madam Chair, there's not.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to close matters of public concern and go on to item 7, which is matters from the county manager. And I guess we would start with item 7A, COVID-19 updates.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
this is
Commissioner Garcia.
I need to step aside for a bit for some family personnel matters, but I will listen and I'll be back soon.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Manager Miller.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So first, I'm going to go through the COVID updates, and I'll just do 2 quick miscellaneous updates before I turn it over to Hachi on the legislative team, and then Patricia for HPPC legislative recommendations. First of all, on our COVID updates, just to give you an idea of what's happening around New Mexico and the county. New cases that were announced on Monday, that includes Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, are New Mexico new cases 4,688, or an average of about 1,562 per day, and 20 new deaths. In Santa Fe County, 230 new cases, or an average of about 76 per day, with a 22.39 positivity test rate. And then Santa Fe County's had a total of 26,632 reported COVID cases, with 18,578 recovered and 237 deaths. Then the current vaccination rates for those 18 years and older in New Mexico that have received 1 dose is 91.4%, and fully vaccinated is 77.5%. And then Santa Fe County, 1 dose is 99%, with 86.5% fully vaccinated. And then in New Mexico, the number of adults with boosters, is about 42.6%. We continue to do public awareness, COVID public awareness around vaccinations and testing and available test kits. Our community services staff is working on a new COVID public awareness campaign this year, focusing on mental health and coping with the stress, including enhancing awareness of the value of Connect, our Connect program, and other resources related to the stress and mental health issues around the pandemic and other stressors. The campaign will use traditional approaches, including posters and bus wraps and some of our targeted social media posts. And then in the next edition of the New Mexicans Healthy Living magazine, we will also have a poster and ad in there. Then we continue to deliver meals to our seniors, and during January, our staff delivered 11,880 meals to our seniors, and also 110 bags of produce and 110 boxes of food from the Home Depot for distribution each week. And then we're averaging about 5 high-risk medical transportation trips per day. Then also, we have been working with the Department of Health and CDC for a testing site our Santa Fe County Emergency Management Office has been working with both New Mexico Department of Health and CDC for COVID testing site at the Santa Fe County Fairgrounds. It will be open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. 7 days a week until the 21st of February. The site also will be offering PCR tests. And to register for a test visit, you can go online, and it's doineedacovid19test.com or ineedacovid19test.com, and register for a test at one of those sites. Also, we have been doing home COVID test kit distributions. The Office of Emergency Management, Santa Fe County Office of Emergency Management, and Chief Vigil and his staff have been hosting drive-through distributions of at-home COVID tests at Romero Park, and at the previously did one at the racetrack, and they will have tomorrow on Wednesday, February 9th from 4 to 7 p.m. We'll have another one at the Romero Park Trailhead at 2145 Caja de Oro Grant Road. And the efforts we're working with the state at focusing on constituents in the 87507 zip code to make sure they have at-home COVID tests available. So all you have to do is drive up, and they will give you a box per adult in your vehicle. And there's 2 tests in each kit. So those are free of charge to anybody who drives up to get those. So those are the COVID updates, and I'd stand for any question on those. And then I just have 2 miscellaneous ones.
Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Thank you. Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you, Manager Miller. Are we doing vaccination clinics still, or did I not hear that?
I don't have a list of any current vaccination clinics. We have been doing them, but I do not know if we have any scheduled in the immediate future.
Thank you.
So I do not have a list of any. I will double check while we're here at the meeting, but we've been sending information out on those when we do have them, but I don't know that we have any scheduled in the next 10 days or so, but I will see if I can get that information if we have it, but I'm not aware of any that we have right now. But we've been doing several a week in coordination with FEMA as well as the Department of Health and our Emergency Management Office.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on the COVID update? So we could proceed, Manager Miller. Thank you.
Okay, then 2 other quick announcements before we go on to legislative matters, and that is that we are seeking 2 board members to serve on our Santa Fe County Valuation Protest Board. 1 board member, one of those 2, needs to demonstrate experience in the field of property valuation, like appraisals or real estate background, that type of background. And then the second board member does not require specific experience in property valuation, but anyone interested in being appointed to the County Valuation Protest Board should submit a letter outlining their qualifications and resume to the Santa Fe County Manager's Office. Attention, Brittany Montoya, and that's our P.O. Box 276, Santa Fe 87504. And they can also call and get the information at 986-6328. And the application deadline for the Valuation Protest Board is February 25th at 5 p.m. And then the last announcement is that Santa Fe County is closed on President's Day in celebration of President's Day on Monday, February 21st. Our county will resume regular business hours on Tuesday, February 22nd, and our convenience centers are closed as part of their regular schedule on Mondays, so they will be closed that day, and then essential services provided by public safety will continue as usual. And those are all of my updates, and if there are no questions, then we're ready to move on to the legislative items.
Seeing no hands and hearing no voices, I think we can move on.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Hetchy Miller, Santa Fe County Intergovernmental Coordinator. And I had a question to Tessa or Daniel. Am I able to share my screen?
Yes, sir. You are.
Okay, great. Well, the first item I wanted to go over was some of the New Mexico County's recent legislative endorsements. And the first such endorsements are from the report, which are on the board docs. And it's on page 2 of that report. Thank you, Daniel. So of these recently supported items, which was January 27th, of those, HB 101 and Senate Bill 11, the New Mexico Reforestation Center Act, that is currently covered in our resolutions, and Senate Bill 108, tax exempt for Social Security income, that's also provided in actions under the commission. So the only ones that for consideration by the board, if they would want to follow suit of New Mexico counties, is Senate Bill 3 and HB 141, which is death benefits for peace officers, law enforcement fund distributions. And what that does is changes death benefits from $250,000 to $1 million. The next one here is election code changes, Senate Bill 6, and that is goes over technical issues in the current election code right now, and that has passed through the Senate so far, so that has strong support, and it's moving along. The next item that they had was Senate Bill 147, ambulance grants for local public ambulance services. And this is an appropriation of $9 million to the Ambulance Service Assistance Fund. And this is ambulatory services, not connected to the government agencies or localities. So other ambulance services would be using this appropriation if it's made. SB 27N, phase out of hold harmless distributions to municipalities and counties. And so what this is a countermeasure because of proposed tax decreases currently. There's a proposed overall 1% decrease of GRT statewide. And so some counties were looking to be proactive, and before or if there was any other downturns in the economy, and if these other tax decreases made reduce funds to the general fund for the state, they didn't want to have any more actions taken on the current phase out of the hold harmless. So what they're looking at is to freeze it at 50% for any of the counties or municipalities that may have enacted any of the 3/8 local option that was provided by the state. So any of the counties that may have enacted a tax to counteract the decrease or the phase out of the hold harmless would be leveled out from here till forever at 50%. And if any counties or municipalities didn't use any of the tax increments, the 3/8, then they could be stopped right now at 100% of their phase out amount. So that one currently has passed through one committee, but I think that would be a tough sell to the state who is looking at currently phasing out hold harmless, and this would essentially make some level of hold harmless always there available to local governments. So those were the items from the January 27th meeting, and I don't know if the commission would like to look at any of those currently right now and make any decisions regarding those.
So just for clarity, thank you very much for presenting this. For clarity, these are items that we have not formally voted on supporting, and the question is if we want to take some action to support these.
Madam Chair, yes, that's correct. These are items adopted by the New Mexico County's Executive Committee.
Great, thank you, Hachi. So commissioners, are there any either questions for Hachi or discussion on these items? Thoughts? We can certainly come back to these because I think there's another component they're going to present on, but commissioners online, are there any questions about supporting these?
Madam Chair, I think I basically don't have any position on these bills, and so I'm not interested in supporting them or denying them.
Anybody else? Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I don't feel strongly about these. Some of them sound like a good idea, but I don't feel like I know enough about some of them either. So.
Okay, great. That's fine. Hutch, if we could move on to the rest of the briefing, that would be good.
Okay. So the next list I have, I'm sharing my screen, and are you able to see it?
We are.
Okay, this is from Saturday's New Mexico County's full board meeting, and they had 5 different items here, which was
Hachi, it looks
at
like
the
we're looking at New Mexico. Madam Chair, I apologize. It looks like we're looking at New Mexico County's board action.
That's correct. That's the right document.
Okay, thank you.
So these 5 items were the items that the full board supported, and I can go through these and ask the same question if there's any specific desire to support any of these items. So the first item is House Bill 173, Rural Infrastructure Crisis Response Act. And this is an appropriation of $1.6 million to the Department of Finance. And what this does is creates the Rural Infrastructure Response Act. And it establishes the Bureau of Rural Infrastructure Crisis Response in the local government division of the DFA. And what that money is doing is helping rural communities face or be able to respond to crisis within their communities that they readily don't have funds available for. And the specific items that are listed that they could use the funds for are to, one, to repair or replace infrastructure damage due to crisis event. Two, fund severely to counteract damage from severely effects of public health, safety, or welfare on the community. Three, they can use it if the local authority does not have resources to repair or replace the infrastructure. And four, no other financial assistance is available to restore the infrastructure. And just a little clarification on the services. So the services that they could use, the proposed funds are for broadband, electricity, natural gas, solid waste, water, and wastewater services. So that's a little information behind that. HB 173. House Bill 199 is an item relating to clerk's offices, and it's notice of recording of liens. So a lot of times when liens are recorded, the persons or property that the liens are being enacted on aren't aware that the lien is there. So this new statute would make it so that the person putting the lien on has to notify the person that they're putting the lien on. And this would, let's see, this would require an additional $25 cost to putting a lien on, and it would be handled by all the different county clerk's offices. Next one is House Bill 194 and Senate Bill 207. So this is looking to provide more of the liquor excise tax to counties so that they can provide services to deal with alcohol abuse treatments and also substance abuse within their counties. So this change would make 27% of the liquor excise receipts be given now to counties for the provision of alcohol and substance abuse prevention and treatment. And an additional 24% would be given to County Alcohol Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Fund. Two different items there, but so in all it'd be an increase of 48% for counties from that liquor excise tax. Next item is Senate Bill 144. Acts of intimidation against election clerks and agents. This is due to recent events during elections where I think a lot of the election offices who are conducting the elections receive a lot of criticism, and additionally it goes to threats and even sometimes acts of intimidation, acts of violence against election officials. So this just adds another, I think it's a 4th degree felony for people doing such an act. And this is moving along. It's gotten a lot of support in the legislature currently, and it's already passed through the Senate unanimously, 38-0 vote. And the last one, Senate Bill 147, was spoken about previously in the January 27th New Mexico County's actions. And with that, I'll pause again and see if there's any questions or direction on any of these items.
So, Hachi, thank you.
Sure.
Madam Chair, Hachi, thank you. Rural Infrastructure Crisis Response Act sounds like a good thing to support. Somebody who believes in water and wastewater and sewers, I can't see any reason why not to support that. And along with House Bill 194, Senate Bill 207, that seems like a good thing for the county, since we are the ones who do a lot of the substance abuse prevention and treatment. And I'm sure our clerk would like us to support Senate Bill 144, acts of intimidation against election clerks and agents, and Senate Bill, that's all I'm going to comment on.
Thank you. Commissioner Hughes?
I agree with those. I think these are actually all good things. Maybe we should just support all of them. Notice of recording of liens seems like a good idea, and I'm sure the ambulance grants are needed. So, and I agree with Commissioner Hanson on the others.
Well, there were commissioners online?
I would agree with that. I think that all of these are worth supporting, including the lien and elections bills. So I think that all these are worth supporting.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
good
you
with
for
all
that.
of that. Go ahead, Hachi. Thank you. Sorry.
I don't know if there needs to be a motion taken.
Yes, apparently there really should be. So, Commissioner Hanson, do you care to make a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to support the ones that I suggested and Commissioner Hughes suggested, and I think that's all of them, right?
Correct, that's all of them. And I'll second that motion.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate the direction. So next item will be taking a look at the specific legislation related to the action items the board has taken already regarding introduced items. So if you can see my screen right now, it's showing the 1.25.22 BCC. So these are the items which you had directed me from the last commission meeting to support or oppose. And just off the top, the hydrogen hub, just a brief discussion about that. The hydrogen hub is seeming to hold up matters at the legislature currently. This is a supported item by the governor, and there is currently allotted money in the budget which was passed by the House for the implementation of this particular act. But as of now, the different proposals put forth that would enable the state to be a hydrogen hub have all currently failed. House Bill 4 is the one on the House by Representative Patty Lundstrom, and she also introduced, and it's not showing up here, but it's House Bill 227. It just shows as a dummy bill here, but that was introduced the other day in an effort to revive this piece of legislation. Currently, it was scheduled originally to be taken up in House Appropriations, but since then, the Speaker has taken it out of committee and placed it on his table. So, which essentially means that it would be his will to take it off, redirect it back to committee, or have it heard on the House floor as he sees fit. Like I had mentioned before, I think part of the issue is that there is a lot of money within the budget itself currently tied to this initiative. So if that money is not going to be used for this, then I guess maybe they're looking at other ways that those funds could be used by the state. So chances are that they're looking at trying to come to a compromise and maybe limited introduction of this piece of legislation, but it's hard to say at this point right now. The opposition for the hydrogen hub is actually coming from both sides of the aisle, so it needs to gain a lot of support for it to move on. It's not highly supported by the Democrats or highly supported by Republicans at this time. In addition to that, Senate Bill 194 was heard in committee today, and that was more or less the Senate version of the hydrogen hub legislation, and that died in committee this morning. And it didn't really receive that long of a hearing, even in committee. They heard from opponents and proponents of the legislation, and basically after that, they went to committee and there wasn't any questions, and they moved to table the item. So both on the House and the Senate side, it looks like it'll be a long ways to go to appease to all the different legislators to get this piece of legislation through. Just some other items to note within this tracking list are Senate Bill 8, that's the governor's initiative, and that establishes more voting rights, more pronounced ways to early vote, vote absentee, giving rights to voters to, I would say, the most broad way that they could participate in an election. And so that is moving forward. The Clean Fuels Standard Act, Senate Bill 14, that is it's receiving opposition from Republicans, but it has moved forward and it has passed the Senate now, and it's going on to the House. The next tracking list is related to Resolution 2022-006, and these are the House memorials looking at studying public utilities for New Mexico. And these are currently not moving, and in a holding pattern. House Memorial 20 was scheduled on the 1st of February, but was withdrawn at a request of the sponsors. So looks like they'll need to rework and make some amendments to pose more members of that particular committee. And Senate Memorial 10 currently has not moved either. Resolution 2021-122. These are the items related to housing. And there was good news on the House Bill 71, the 10% property tax increase, and this is commonly referred to as tax lightning legislation. And so that received a good response from committee members. They felt that it was a good fix and the right time to start making this change to reflect that there are multiple property owners in counties, and currently they're not able to be taxed at the real rate which they are assessed at. So this House Bill 71 would go to fix that, and Representative McQueen has been proposing this piece of legislation for a few years now, and it's good to see that that is moving. The Energy Storage System Income Tax Credit, that did pass through its first committee, and it's currently, it was favored, but it looks as though all of the tax credits are being held up currently in House Tax and Revenue Committee, because they are looking to get all the tax credits combined, put them in one bill, and make sure that they understand what the physical impact would be as a whole, not piecemeal one by one. So any of the solar credits, these storage credits, those things are going to be held up in that manner, and they'll come through in a larger one multi-item piece of legislation. HB 36. HB 36 is the Natural Heritage Conservation Act changes. Sorry, I have trouble saying that today. And that is currently moving, and it has passed the House and is also scheduled in Senate Conservation next. The New Mexico Reforestation Center Act, that relates to the climate action and sustainability items within our current resolution, and that is favorable, and that is moving. And through the committee discussion, I witnessed it does have a favorable remarks from both Democrats and Republicans. House Bill 127 is moving, and it looks like it's receiving some kickback from those in the area who use this to say that this would affect the jobs associated with New Mexico's waste storage. But overall, even in the area of those oil and gas areas, it's not getting, it's getting opposition towards New Mexico being a storage state. So interesting bill, getting favorable remarks from both Democrats and Republicans. HJR 2, the citizens' environmental rights. This was interesting. First go of the committee, didn't make it through, and they asked the sponsor to take it back and make some amendments. And subsequently, it received a due pass from House Energy and Environmental Natural Resources. I'll have a go next at House Judiciary, but this item is moving. The Clean Fuel Standards Act, that was spoken about in the previous section, and that is moving. Senate Bill 155, Economic Diversification and Climate Resilience Fund. This is a piece of legislation proposed by Senator Munoz, and it's looking at just exploring what the next steps will be for the state to move forward out of the oil and gas business, and it creates a fund so that can be studied, and that's moving. The National Biodiversity Strategy, SJM2, that witnessed in committee, that also did have favorable position from both Democrats and Republicans, and that is moving forward. That's passed through its first committee. The next list here is those items related to Resolution 2021-120. And the first item here is the Community Energy Efficiency Development Block Grant. And that is moving very well. It has passed through the House so far and is moving on to Senate Conservation next. Sustainable Building Tax Credits. Once again, this is one of the credits, and it did pass through its first committee, but so far it's going to be held up and bundled together within the larger multi-issue tax credit bill. Senate Bill 42, that has moved through committee and it's going next to Senate Judiciary. This is Resolution 2021-110 items. That House Bill 11 we've spoken about. It's going to be bundled together with other tax credits. The same with House Bill 34, solar market development tax credits. House Bill 65, that did get through the first House. Let's see. Yeah, this is tenants' rights and owner requirements for lease termination. So it adds more protections to renters who are facing homelessness issues and being able to have more rights to stay in their place as they are awarded more rights within this bill, and this has passed through the House. So its next stop is the Senate. Once again, another tax credit, House Bill 125. House Bill 131, this appropriates money to take a look at water data in the in the state, and this goes to long-term water planning and long-term water sustainability. House Memorial 15, this relates to food and nutrition for school children. That has passed through its first committee. And these three items, I will need to double check, but I believe the funding is already allocated within House Bill 2, and there does need to be legislation that goes along with it to make sure that it's managed right and provided to the right program. So these items, Senate Bill 57, 59, and 62, all from Senator Stefanik's, have been moving through without issue. The same item here, we're on the 2021-108 list now. The same items here from Senator Stefanik's. And the next resolution is 107. And these are related to the return to work. And so House Bill 73, that is actually going to committee this afternoon, and I'll update you on that. House Bill 106, also in the same committee. I will provide you the update of that. And Senate Bill 172, this is related to teachers, and this is an initiative of the governor. So this is an item that she wants, that teachers who are currently retired can return back to work. And this has passed through its committees on the Senate side and will next go to the full Senate. And lastly, these were the initial New Mexico County supported items and county courthouse building funds. So this item here has ran into an issue. This was originally contained in the House Bill 2 for $20 million. And what I've learned from the New Mexico County's updates is that this particular allocation has been taken out. So it's the state budget is now on the Senate side, and they are working with Senator Rodriguez to see if she can put back in this $20 million for county courthouses. It's not really clear as to why it was taken out, but like I said, I've been getting updates from New Mexico counties on this particular item. So hopefully Senator Rodriguez would be able to put back in this $20 million. And with that, those are the updates for all the items that we have been following so far. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I read in the paper today, Senator Rodriguez has a bill, Senate Bill 134, sponsored by Senator Nancy Rodriguez, allocates 2.5% of the state severance tax bonding capacity to this fund. This is Affordable Housing Fund. So how is that bill doing? One of the quotes was, the result is that you can't depend on non-reoccurring funds when you're going to build affordable housing and provide for programs for affordable housing and the homeless. So I'm hoping that this bill is getting some play.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Hanson. Yes, I forgot to mention that particular bill, and it did receive a lot of support. I watched the debate on the Senate floor, and one of the issues right now was they're wanting to see that fund could actually be used to go towards to actual homes, putting people in homes. What was stated from NMFA was that a lot of the funding that's currently available and is being used for apartment rentals. And so the reason being is that there just isn't enough money to spread around to all the different needs. So with this $27 million, hopefully that can not just go to the apartment rentals, but now into actual placement in homes. And yes, so that bill would allow for, they said, between $22 and $25 million in perpetuity every year to fund that. And so that would be monumental in the state to go ahead and address the housing needs.
Yes, Senator Steinborn said this is one of those bills that you dream that someday you could ultimately have a solution this big, that would be this sweeping, that would rise to the level of the needs of the problem, and this is really a huge problem. So, I'm hoping that bill will pass and that we continue to support that, because I think that's in line with what Commissioner Hughes has been supporting.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Hanson, I just looked it up and it was a 37-3 vote, so very little opposition. Like I said, the main questions were those housing, putting people in actual housing. So it's receiving very little resistance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other commissioners? Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, I'll just add that I've been wanting something like this bill to pass for about 30 years. So it's amazing to see it moving. And the fact that it passed the Senate, I think, is a good sign. It shouldn't have much trouble in the House, I wouldn't think.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Thank you, Commissioner Hanson.
Madam Chair, I just want to add my voice to that as well. I think it's going to be it's a good bill, and it's something that I'm glad to see coming forward.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Roybal. Is there other discussion? If not, thank you so much for the detailed report, Hachi. It's really good to be kept up on this progress. I think that would take us to 7C, which is requesting support for Health Policy and Planning Commission legislative bill recommendations. Patricia, are you available?
Yes, I am, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you so much. The Health Policy and Planning Commission wanted to consider a couple of legislative items in this legislative session. So we convened a special meeting of the HPPC last week. And there were two pieces to the HPPC's meeting and to their vote. The first concerns a Senate memorial and a House memorial that have the same language. It's House Memorial 6 and, Senate Memorial 6 and House Memorial 11. These were briefly discussed at the last BCC meeting. These would both request that the New Mexico Association of Counties convene a task force to study the costs and feasibility of a unified jail system and look at the pros and cons of that. And the memorials point out that the current system doesn't have a way to effectively share medical and behavioral health information. So the task force, which is of a short duration, it would be reporting in December, would study this issue. At the HPPC special meeting, Grace Phillips, General Counsel to the New Mexico Association of Counties, said that the Criminal Justice Institute, which is a nonprofit research entity, would provide assistance with the study. This kind of unified system is the case in 6 states. And this is really a study of the pros and cons. It's just a first look at this issue without making any determination. The HPPC voted to recommend that the BCC support these 2 memorials, one in the House and one in the Senate. So that is the first. And then the second item, actually a bill, House Bill 52, that the HPPC was interested in and did vote to recommend that the BCC support, is House Bill 52, which amends the State's Harm Reduction Act. And the idea here is to expand distribution of naloxone and overdose prevention education, and to permit distribution of drug testing devices. This is really designed to address the evolving substance use landscape. Harm reduction strategies such as naloxone to prevent overdose have been shown to be crucial, but there are drug testing devices, including fentanyl test strips, that can identify the presence of fentanyl and help prevent injury and overdose. Often fentanyl now we're seeing is being mixed with other drugs and manufactured to look like other medications. And there have been many really unfortunate fentanyl deaths, including among youth in New Mexico and actually in Santa Fe County. And under current law, fentanyl test strips could be considered drug paraphernalia and thus be fall under the prohibition of possessing drug paraphernalia. So during this special meeting last week, the HPPC heard from the Department of Health, from Arian Showers, who is the director of the Office of Policy, about the harm reduction benefits of this bill. This is on the governor's call. It passed the House maybe 2 days ago. It's on the Senate. It's now in the Senate, and the HPPC recommended that the BCC support House Bill 52. So those are the 2 items, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Patricia. So, Commissioner Hanson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you for that overview. I'd like to make a motion to support these 2 or 3 bills that they're talking about: the study, the Unified Jail Study, and the House Bill 52 harm reduction.
Thank you.
I think that it is important that we look into these things and study them. I appreciate that the HPPC took the time to seriously look at these and make recommendations to us. That is their job, and we really appreciate them stepping up to the plate and having a special meeting to really understand these bills, and I really appreciate it also. So with that, I move to approve these 2 suggestions.
Thank you.
And I'll second that motion. These are very worthwhile things for us to support.
Thank you. I agree completely. So I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And thank you so much, Patricia, for bringing this forward. So if there are no other matters from the county manager, that moves us to item 8, matters from the county commissioners and other elected officials. So item A is from commissioner issues. Maybe I'll go in a different order. Commissioner Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things I wanted to mention. Last week I had a public meeting with my constituents, and they were among the things we discussed. And actually the first thing we discussed was they wanted to know about the plastic bag ban that we were working on. There's a lot of support in my district for this. As you probably, some of you may remember, we did a poll, and it was, I mean, a poll of my constituents is not necessarily random, but it was, there was a lot of support for the plastic bag ban. So I talked to Commissioner Hansen, and we thought, or she thought, it might be a good idea to bring that back in conjunction with Earth Day this year. And so we're thinking about that. The other thing I wanted to mention is I have been meeting with the residents who live along Spur Ranch Road. And I want to thank Director Gary Harone and Attorney Schaefer for working on a resolution. It wasn't quite ready for us to vote on, but I think with just a few changes, it would be ready for us to look at, hopefully at the next meeting. The residents along that road, a majority of them would like to pave the road if it's at all possible, but they also realize that the cost might just be prohibitive. So what we would hope to do is be able to get them enough information that they could think about it and tell us what they want us to do in that regard. And that's all for me, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Hughes. Commissioner Hansen?
Thank you, everybody. I just had the honor of signing an MOA with EM Los Alamos that was approved by the Buckman Direct Diversion to provide early notification to the Buckman Direct Diversion. And thank you, Sarah, and all the staff at BDD for getting it to me to sign. I really appreciate it. I also really appreciate Commissioner Hughes wanting to bring this, our plastic, it's not just a plastic ban on bags. It's more than that, because I think that we really have to recognize that plastic is a strong contributor to climate change, and that it comes directly from oil, and that it is a fossil fuel. Plastic is directly resulted from a fossil fuel, and the sooner that we start removing this out of our consumption stream, the better. So I'm really grateful to Commissioner Hughes to work on this with him. And I thought the article by Gary Stoller in the New Mexican was excellent. Also, over this last couple of weeks, I attended a couple quarterly meetings of my constituents. Las Campanas, the homeowners association, has their quarterly meetings, and I attend that on a regular basis, and it's always very informative. And then I am at the moment have been elected president of the Northern Rio Grande National Heritage Area, and we had a quarterly meeting, and one of the big results of that meeting was that we raised our grant allocation to $10,000 from $5,000. So I'm hoping that that will help us get more money out into the community and to the small nonprofits. And then also every first Monday of every month, I am always at the Agua Fria Village Association meeting, and you're welcome to Zoom in. We are still under all of these COVID protocols, so our meetings have been Zoom. And this last night was the first Monday, and our utility director, John Dupuy, was there talking about the sewer installation in Agua Fria, which is getting underway. So I think that is all I have today. I have been testifying also on a number of bills at the legislature. On Saturday morning, I testified on the environmental rights bill in support of that, and then also in support of cleaning up of uranium mines throughout the Grande uranium belt and other places and on Navajo Nation. I think that that is an incredibly important bill to support. And I thank everybody and I thank Hatchie for all the work that he's done. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Roybal, are you there and have anything to address to your constituents?
Yes, Madam Chair, I appreciate that. I did have a call that I wanted to see, wanted to talk to staff. It's in regard to the Fair Board, and I did have a call from the president of the Fair Board that was concerned because I guess there's a lot of, for the volunteers, they have to be vaccinated. And they said that they're having issues getting a quorum because they only have 3 participants. I guess there's approximately 20 association members that aren't, that some of them I think do have vaccines, but they don't feel that they have to provide that to the county for a volunteer position. And also there was 4 board members, and I guess my question would be, and I don't know if there's any way we can work with that, because right now they're afraid that, they're without a quorum, they can't make decisions, they can't move forward without a quorum. And so basically they want to see if there's any way for us to look at looking if they could attend meetings via WebEx, and if they aren't vaccinated or if they don't want to provide that information. I think what they said is they thought by March 3rd that they would be receiving a letter that they would no longer be able to participate on the board. So I'm not sure if there's some way to be able to work with the Fair Board. I know they're all volunteers rather than employees, but I don't know if there's anybody from staff that might be able to answer that, or maybe if there are any ideas that we can try and work with them, especially if they're not really meeting with staff, and how that would work. So I don't know. I just kind of want to get clarification because I did get a phone call in regards to that.
Thank you, Commissioner Roybal. Commissioner Garcia, have you come back on? Perhaps not. So I actually also have an announcement, and I'm not totally sure, but I think, maybe the county manager might want to pay attention to this. She's not looking at me, however. There is no question that things are hard for people everywhere right now. COVID-19 and all its variants have made life complicated. The people of Santa Fe County and the professionals who work here have had to contend with more than their fair share of bad news and challenges. So the opportunity to share some good news is more appreciated than ever. And in this regard, we actually have some good news. Catherine Miller has been awarded the Association of Government Accountants Distinguished Local Government Leadership Award. Of course, it isn't surprising to those of us who work with her because we know how excellent she is. This award recognizes excellence in government management and sound financial management practices, leadership, advocacy, interest, and initiative in improving government financial management matters, and real results. As I said, this is good news, but not a surprise because we see Ms. Miller's excellence, leadership, results everywhere in Santa Fe County's operations. Manager Miller summed up her approach to government management. One of the most important policy documents in a public entity is its budget, and it is where policy positions become reality. A well-developed budget and good financial records are a strong foundation for good public policy, end quote. I hope that sounds familiar. This philosophy can be seen throughout Santa Fe County under Manager Miller's leadership. Manager Miller has made a measurable impact on Santa Fe County during her tenure. Her efforts have ensured the county can deliver quality services in an efficient and fiscally responsible manner, providing full value to constituents for each dollar spent. The policies and systems instituted by Manager Miller ensure an excellent fiscal base to sustain the abundance of services provided to Santa Fe County constituents. Her sound financial management has resulted in fiscal stability that can withstand the current economic fluctuations caused by COVID and adjust to the ever-changing service needs of the county. Because of her leadership, the county has continued to grow and become more diverse and complex in the services provided to constituents. Santa Fe County's quick and effective response to COVID-19 is an excellent example of Ms. Miller's leadership. By immediately assembling a task force weeks before state or federal responses and creating a COVID-19 action plan, the county pivoted to allow staff who were required to work on site, to allow staff to work remotely and continue to provide high-quality services to the community. Staff who were required to work on site were supported with new procedures to keep them safe and healthy. Despite the challenges that COVID-19 imposed, county staff's flexibility resulted in continued productivity in every department. I'm trying to drag this out for the effect. The creative solutions she offered resulted in no employees being furloughed and minimal disruptions in county services. Successfully securing CARES Act funds allowed the county to expand its services as the pandemic impacted the lives of Santa Feans. Businesses and organizations were awarded over $3.6 million to support business continuity in the county. Community outreach, including a public awareness campaign and home care kits, were funded to make sure everyone knew how to stay safe and access the available help. The AGA will recognize their award winners at the National Leadership Training event on February 24th, and Ms. Miller will receive her award and recognition at a lunchtime awards ceremony in Washington, D.C. This is a really big deal, guys. And in particular, I want to thank the people who thought ahead and submitted this nomination without Manager Miller's knowledge. And those were Yvonne Herrera, Director of Finance, Sonia Quintana, Director of Human Resources, Rachel O'Connor, Director of Community Services, Bill Taylor, Procurement Manager, Cindy McGee, Director of Strategic and Operational Planning, and Amanda Lucero, County Manager's Office Administrative Assistant. I can't think of anybody more deserving for this award. And I'm a little bit sorry that we can't do this with just everybody filling the chambers. I hope the people who are online who did this feel like they're well-deserved thanks for thinking about something that was just so well-deserved and the recognition that was so important.
Madam Chair?
Yes, I'm sure all of the commissioners will want to say something. Commissioner Roybal?
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations and absolutely well-deserved. I couldn't agree with you more. And, you know, I know with every great leader comes a really strong foundation with the employees. So I think that, you know, it's her leadership is a reflection on how well the county does it as a whole. So congratulations, Catherine.
Thank you, Commissioner Roybal. Commissioner Hanson?
Yes, congratulations, Catherine. It's well-deserved, overdue. We probably should have gotten it a long time ago. You have been an excellent example of a manager, and this is just one more recognition that states that has that you have shown your true value to Santa Fe County and how lucky we are to have you as the county manager. So thank you very much for all your work.
Thank you. Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, congratulations. This is certainly a well-deserved honor, and your reputation has been great for a long time. So I think Commissioner Hansen's right. You should have gotten this a little while ago, but better late than never. And yeah, we're proud to have you.
Very proud, and I am honored that by chance I got to be the one sitting in the central chair and reading this, but I know this could have been read by any one of us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. I'm stunned. I'm totally stunned. So
You were supposed to be.
yeah, you guys got me good. I was not expecting that at all. So thank you very much. And to the people who put in a nomination, that's pretty amazing. I really appreciate it. And truth is, they're the ones who do all the work. So, and we've had definitely a challenging few years, and it's all the, as Commissioner Roybal said, it's the team. It's not me. It's all of them. So I can't thank them enough for all the work that they do. They've really been outstanding over the last, they've been outstanding always, but they've really been outstanding through this whole pandemic. And the legal office, finance, HR, IT, everybody has had to completely change the way we operate and make sure we provide the ability for employees to do their jobs remotely or differently. And they've done just such a good job responding to this, and all of the department directors and their staff, and I just thank them, and thank you for this recognition today. I appreciate it.
I certainly wish we could do more right at the moment, but I think I know it's nobody in your position with your skills and commitment to and what you do every day does it for the recognition like this, but every once in a while it's a really good thing to see happen. So congratulations again. I kind of hate to move on from there. It's all downhill from here. But that does leave us to matters from other elected officials. Madam Clerk, I'll go to you first.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As our constituents might know, there is currently a city council and city mayor race in Española, just 3 precincts up in Santa Fe County, but the election is going on, and election day is March 1st. All the information you need to know about that election is on the city clerk's website. Filing day for the primary, the 2022 primary, that's gubernatorial, that's judges, that's statewide offices, and those who will be filing in our office for assessor, sheriff, and other positions is going to be March 8th. It's a Tuesday. We're suggesting folks make an appointment to make it easier to not bunch up during the time of COVID. Of course, we will be open from 9 to 5 that day. You can make an appointment by calling the clerk's office or emailing clerk@santafecounty.nm.gov.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
And I wanted to thank the Commission for supporting some of our election bills. We had a very hard time in 2020, and I'm glad to see the legislature responding to that by money and some extra protections. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Are there other elected officials on the WebEx who would like to speak? Madam Treasurer or our Sheriff or Assessor? Tessa Jo, are there any other elected officials on?
Yes, Madam Chair, the treasurer Treasurer Manzanares and Under Sheriff Johnson are both signed on to WebEx.
Thank you. If anybody would like to speak, please just unmute yourself and take the floor. Okay, hearing none, and thank you for being here for the meeting. That will move us to matters from the county attorney. Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first item under matters from the county attorney is item 9A. Given that the board adjourned its last meeting and went into executive session, we would respectfully request a motion to have the minutes of this meeting reflect that the matters discussed during the January 25, 2022 executive session were limited only to those specified in the motion for closure.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. That motion passes.
With regard to item number 9B, we would look for a motion to go into executive session to discuss threatened or pending litigation in which Santa Fe County is or may become a participant as allowed by Section 1015(1)H7 NMSA 1978, and discussion of the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights as allowed by Section 1015(1)H8 NMSA 1978, including one, solid waste convenience center locations and disputes, breach of settlement agreement and related agreements related to annexation, and in re National Prescription Opiate Litigation, U.S. District Court, Northern District of Ohio, Eastern District, case number 1:17-MD-2804.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for those matters.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to go into executive session. Can I get a roll call?
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Anna Hansen.
Yes.
Commissioner Hank Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry Roybal.
Yes.
Commissioner Rudy Garcia.
Commissioner Garcia is probably excused again at this point.
Okay. Okay. Chair Anna Hamilton.
Yes. Thank you very much. So we're in executive session, and I would note that starting no earlier than 5 o'clock, we will be back out for 2 public hearings. Thank you very much. And Commissioner Roybal, you know you would sign off this, and we will be on a separate WebEx for executive session.
Correct.
Are we, yes. So,
Madam Chair,
welcome back. Commissioner Hanson.
I would like to make a motion to come out of executive session, and the only thing that was discussed was the items that Attorney Schaefer introduced in his motion.
Thank you. I have a motion. Can I have a second?
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to come out of executive session. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I believe that the only three commissioners present are, I don't think there's anybody else on WebEx, so it's just us three present. So that would take us to item 10, which is public hearing on the proposed ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of Santa Fe County, New Mexico industrial revenue bonds. And I think I would like to go directly to Attorney Schaefer to fill us in on this, set the stage.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. The item before you would authorize the issuance by the county of up to $60 million in industrial revenue bonds to fund an upgrade and expansion of Santa Fe Studios. It would authorize the BCC chair or county manager to execute the other project documents necessary to effectuate the transactions contemplated both in the bond ordinance and the board's earlier inducement resolution. Those consist of a lease agreement, an indenture, and a bond purchase agreement. And I'll discuss each of those briefly in turn. But to set the stage, at the board's December 14, 2021 meeting, it adopted resolution number 2021-118, which declared its intent to consider for adoption the bond ordinance before you this evening. The board's action to adopt the inducement resolution was based upon the project review team's recommendation to conditionally recommend the project. The conditions of the project review team were to confirm the feasibility of the project after the final terms of the Enterprise Bank and Trust loan were known, confirmation that the project's overall positive contribution to the Santa Fe County economy justifies the property tax abatement based upon NMEDD's economic analysis, and preparation of mutually agreeable project documents. All of those conditions have been met in the view of the project review team, as well as myself and bond counsel for the county, Peter Franklin of the Modrell Law Firm, who worked with myself as well as counsel to the applicants to prepare the bond ordinance and associated project documents. With regard to the other documents that would be authorized by the bond ordinance, they consist of a bond purchase agreement pursuant to which an affiliate of Santa Fe Studios agrees to purchase the IRBs and the county agrees to sell them. The parties make various representations that are conditions precedent to the closing of the transaction, and the form of counsel opinions concerning the validity of the transaction are set forth in the bond purchase agreement. Finally, Santa Fe Studios and the affiliate purchaser agree to indemnify the county from any claims arising from the sale or issuance of the IRBs. The indenture, between Santa Fe County, Santa Fe Film Services LLC as purchaser, and BOKF NA as depository, provides security for the IRBs, and that the county assigns all of its rights under the lease to Santa Fe Film Services LLC as the purchaser of the IRBs, except for certain exceptions, which I'll touch upon briefly in a minute, and establishes how bond proceeds will be released by the depository to Santa Fe Studios. Significantly, among other unassigned rights, the county does not assign its rights to payment in lieu of property taxes or clawback payments. Its rights under the mortgages which secure its guarantee of the commercial loan that helped fund Phase 1A of Santa Fe Studios, or its rights to indemnification for third-party claims and costs associated with the project. Finally, there's a lease pursuant to which the current owner of the project site will transfer title to the county. The county will lease the project site to Santa Fe Studios. Santa Fe Studios agrees to pay rent in an amount sufficient to cover debt service under the IRBs, and Santa Fe Studios agrees to make payment in lieu of taxes or pilot payments during the 30 years of the lease. And Santa Fe Studios agrees to repay abated property taxes if it ceases operations within 30 years of the issuance of the IRBs. And again, Santa Fe Studios agrees to indemnify the county for claims associated with the project. In terms of the most significant economic terms in the project documents, those from the county's perspective are the pilot provisions and the clawback provisions of the lease. Relative to payment in lieu of taxes, there's a 100% payment in lieu of taxes of all property taxes that would otherwise be due on the $12.8 million in value attributable to Phase 1A. This would include the property tax levies of the state, county, public schools, and Santa Fe Community College District for the life of the project or lease, meaning all 30 years. And separately, there would be a pilot equal to the property taxes that would otherwise be due to the public schools and Santa Fe Community College District on the value attributable to the upgrade and expansion project as determined by periodic appraisals paid for by Santa Fe Studios. Finally, there is a clawback provision. Should Santa Fe Studios cease operations within 30 years of the issuance of the IRBs, it would be required to pay back a percentage of the taxes abated. It declines in equal increments over, per 5-year period. So if they ceased operations in years 0 to 5, they would have to pay 100% of abated property taxes, and then that declines down to 16.66% if they were to cease operations during years 26 through 30. I'd be pleased to stand for any questions. Again, this is a high-level overview, but we do recommend approval of the bond ordinance since the project meets the criteria of Ordinance number 1998-01 concerning industrial revenue bonds, and myself as county attorney and our bond counsel have negotiated what we believe to be acceptable project documents with the applicants. And finally, I would note for the record that since the initial packet material was uploaded to board docs last week, we did make further revisions to the lease, which were distributed to the board earlier today and uploaded to board docs, which further underscore that this transaction does not impact the county's rights as mortgagee under the mortgage and supplemental mortgage that secure repayment of the county's guarantee of the existing commercial loan that funded Phase 1A of the studios. I'd stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I go to public hearing, do any commissioners have questions? Okay, so this is a public hearing. Is there anybody in the public who wishes to speak to the BCC regarding this ordinance? Tessa Jo, can you tell me if there's anybody on from the public who has either indicated they want to speak or for whom I should repeat the announcement?
No, Madam Chair, not that I'm aware of.
Thank you very much. So just for good measure, is there anybody on WebEx who wants to speak to the commission as part of this public hearing on this ordinance? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and see if, do the commissioners have any questions, or what's the pleasure of the board?
I would like to move to approve this ordinance to be authorized. I would like to move to this ordinance authorizing the issuance of the sale of sale of Santa Fe County, New Mexico Industrial Revenue Bond, Santa Fe Studios Project, Series 2022, in the maximum principal of $16 million to provide funds to finance the renovation, construction, reconstruction, installation, and equipment of upgraded to existing facility, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, can I have a roll call vote?
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Anna Hansen,
Yes.
Commissioner Hank Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry Roybal,
Excused.
Commissioner Rudy Garcia,
Also excused.
Chair Anna Hamilton.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
I believe David Buckles, the bond counsel for the applicant, would like to say something. He has his hand raised.
I am so
Very
sorry.
briefly.
I can't see him, and I apologize.
Oh,
Please,
I'm on.
we'd love to hear from you, sir.
Okay, I'm here. I don't know if I can see myself. I don't know if you can see me. All I wanted to do was say thank you to the chair and to the commission, and especially thank you to the county manager, to the county attorney, and the county special attorney for working with us on what I believe is an important project for Santa Fe. We're looking forward to getting shovels moving and shovels ready and getting things done here. And we appreciate all the support from the government. So that's all that I had to say about this right now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the input and look forward to working together. Commissioner Hansen, are you on?
Hi, David. This is Commissioner Hansen. So I hope you will invite us out to the groundbreaking, because this is a big, important project that we all believe in. And so thank you.
Well, thank you. And Mr. Marine from Santa Fe Studios is on with us, and I'm sure he notes that and that we will do that.
We are thrilled, and we thank you for your support. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners, for supporting this important project. We thank you.
Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, thank you, Octavio. It's good to see you. We look forward to seeing
Thank
you
you
in person.
For sure.
Excellent. And the best wishes moving forward to all of us.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I do see that Commissioner Roybal does appear to be on the meeting, so I don't know if you want to try and see if you might be able to record a vote on the matter.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Roybal, are you in fact on, and would you like to cast the vote on this ordinance? Commissioner Roybal, I believe it's possible, Attorney Schaefer, that he is not signed out, but he had texted indicating he may not be able to be on the rest of the meeting after executive session. So I guess I'll leave it at that. So that would take us to...
Madam Chair, would you like an ordinance number?
I started to ask, and then I did start to ask. I didn't, and then got diverted with the comments from the applicants, which were appreciated. Yes, I would love an ordinance number.
It is the first of the year, so it is Ordinance 2022-01.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. And now we can move to item 11, which is a public hearing on The Vista de Sangre request for a second time extension. And I think once again, I will go directly to Vicky Lucero if you're with us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Eliano Company, Inc. applicant is requesting a second time extension on a previously imposed condition by the BCC on the final plat approval for the Vista de Sangre subdivision, which required the final plat for Phase 1 to be recorded within 60 days of the BCC's approval. The applicant was already granted a 90-day time extension from the BCC, but is now requesting an additional 90 days to record the final plat for Phase 1. The site is located north of the New Mexico 599 frontage road at the intersection of Caja del Oro Grant Road within Section 31, Township 17 North, Range 9 East, Commission District 2. On May 11, 2021, the BCC granted approval of a conceptual plan for a 23-lot subdivision. The approval also included preliminary and final plat approval for Phase 1 and Phase 2. Prior to the BCC's action on the subdivision application, Santa Fe County and Eliano Company, Inc. had entered into a settlement agreement and release of claims, which required the applicant to submit a consolidated application for subdivision approval. One of the stipulations of the settlement agreement was that Eliano record the final plat for Phase 1 within 60 days after the board enters an order conditionally approving the submission. The final order conditionally approving the application was recorded on July 28, 2021, and included a condition of approval consistent with the 60-day recording requirement. Therefore, the final plat for Phase 1 should have been recorded by September 28, 2021. On December 14, 2021, a request from the applicant was presented to the BCC for a 90-day time extension to record the final plat for Phase 1 in order to allow them time to secure signatures from all of the 8 current lot owners. The BCC granted their request for a time extension and allowed them until December 28, 2021 to record the final plat. The applicant was unable to record the plat by December 28th and is now requesting an additional 90 days. The applicant states, while we have been successful in obtaining 6 of the 8 required signatures, 2 lot owners have refused to sign the plat over issues personal to their house construction that have nothing to do with the plat. We plan to continue to work with these owners to obtain their signatures and require additional time to work with these 2 remaining lot owners. Recommendation. The applicant has been working with the 8 property owners to obtain the necessary signatures. And since the time of this application, Madam Chair and Commissioners, the agent has actually informed me that they have been able to secure all of the required signatures. The applicant has made a good faith effort to comply with all conditions of the BCC's approval. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the request for an additional 90 days to record the final plat for Phase 1, subject to the condition listed below in the staff report. This would allow them until March 28th to record the final plat for Phase 1. And Madam Chair, the condition that we recommend is that the applicant shall comply with all other conditions imposed by the BCC on the conceptual plan variance and preliminary and final plat approval. Thank you, Madam Chair. I stand for any questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lucero. So once again, before I go to the public hearing portion, are there any questions or comments by commissioners?
I really sincerely hope that, Madam Chair, that the applicant can get these 2 signatures and we can move forward with this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hughes, anything? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open public hearing. Tessa Jo, I'm going to go right to you. Is there anybody that you recognize is present on WebEx that might wish to speak or has told you they wish to speak to this matter?
No, Madam Chair, there is not.
Okay, so I will ask, is there anybody on this WebEx who wishes to speak to the BCC about this proposed time extension?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to mention that the agent for the project is on the line, so I don't know if he has anything to address.
Okay, I think I can probably close the public hearing portion and go to him if he cares to speak. So I'm going to do that. Close the public hearing. Vicky, if you want to invite him to speak, is he on the WebEx?
Madam Chair, he is. It's Scott Heft, and yeah, I can see that he's on the WebEx call.
Mr. Heff, was there anything you wished to tell us at this point?
Yes, Commission, we secured the final 2 signatures. So we can go ahead and go to Mylar and complete the process at this stage.
Excellent. That's good to hear. Thank you for the continued effort.
Yes.
So we've closed public hearing, and Commissioner Hanson.
So thank you, Scott. I'm glad to hear that you have obtained the 2 additional signatures. So I will make a motion to approve this extension so that you can do that and we can move forward.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. So I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So the matter passes. Congratulations and thanks for your effort on that.
And so
And can I
I
get?
think he wants to say something.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. So that leaves us only concluding business. Are there any final announcements? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And good night, everybody, and thank you for attending, and congratulations to Manager Miller for her recognition.